this is even a time in which the codification of the waves that will make possible the communications between smartphones, cell phones that we know today, the coding was not even created. Okay? So the thing here is that Cardi B made this Instagram post and it became a song. It became something really funny. But that's the moment right there in which everybody came on awareness of what is going on, what this is. And we're talking about Cardi B, who is always, she even uses her persona to make a great example of what is going on. And she accepts in that video that she is scared. She accepts that in that video. So that's the first moment, that funny viral internet moment. That's the one that created the whole worldwide, at least on this side of the planet, awareness that there's something really, really, really messed up going on here. So once Cardi B does this, she has not stopped. She did not just only did that video, but recently the outlet page, the page now, this highlighted a video in which she's formally criticizing Donald Trump to a point that she refuses to call him by name and she calls him by number, which was fucking amazing, fucking fantastic. That's the way that the guy, we should address him as that. 45. So memorize this because I want to use. I want to get inspired from what Cardi B on that video, and we should not be mentioning the name of Donald Trump. We should be calling him as he is, a number 45. 45. She starts this video by complaining that that they have more ratings at The Bachelorette and football, and she starts screaming, and in a way that it could be tend to be funny, that she starts screaming like, "We're dying! We're dying!" But the thing is that it's something that is true, and she's a New York native. She can tell you about that. She's talking with people who are suffering. I strongly don't believe that she's in New York right now, but she has contact with people who are in New York, who are seeing the horror of this illness, who are seeing the horror, who are seeing people right now being buried in common crypts nearby Central Park. I think is that they did that thing. They're seeing people being loaded. Corpses being loaded on truck. And it says a lot of awful bad things about the supposed to be left side of politics in the United States, in which they have been mostly contemplating the solving that Joe Biden defeated them, that the right is defeating them front, center, and everywhere, and they have not come out. They have sent some things of awareness. Bernie quit. We have not heard so much about them. But in the meantime, I'm good with Cardi. So it's not like we need them. Because there's something that Cardi B is teaching us through this whole crisis, through this whole situation that we're going through, is that the common mistake that we make of choosing to trust people because they have a paper that it says that they were roaming around a university and a college for a certain amount of years. That's what we do. And in Puerto Rico, we have done that for over 60 years, that we have the ability of voting, and we have done that. We have gone with, this person studied in Harvard, this person studied in Stanford. Something that the coronavirus brings to the table is the fact that we can think politics in another way. We don't need a person. We need persons who are so socially conscious. We need people who are socially conscious. And Cardi B in this moment is being socially conscious. She's talking about the stimulus package, how much people needed. She delved into the economic analysis of the situation by stating that there's people already running out of their savings and people who are already going broke who need the stimulus package immediately. She's even addressing that from the point of the people that she's talking to, from the contact that she's making with these people. And that contact that she's making with that people is a genuine contact in which she is completely aware, not only on the emotional part, the health part, that of what these people, especially in New York, are going through. But there's some smart asses who are waiting for Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez to say something, to Elizabeth Warren to make an address, to Nancy Pelosi to make some miraculous another stimulus package because they don't want to look bad beside Trump. And it's sickening. It is sickening. That's why I brought in forward the example of Cardi B. In fact, the fact at the beginning, I wasn't even going to make the Macedon podcast. I was gonna make like the original El Macedon podcast, and I was gonna do the like music and play a couple of tracks. I used to be a DJ, so. But then when I saw Cardi B, that's when I realized how important it is to remind people that a politician has access to higher counsel. So you don't need to be looking for a fucking PhD in a politician, because we have been on that for centuries in the United States and in here in Puerto Rico for decades, and it hasn't worked for shit. It hasn't worked for nothing. And the thing is that what we need is, it's not. I'm not making a vouch for Cardi B for president. But if she keeps the thread that she's going on, you wouldn't have to be so much surprised if I do. But if she keeps this thread and the way she's keeping it, wouldn't be a bad choice. The person who can get people who can counsel her on things, it's going to be a disaster. We have Donald Trump in the Oval Office for fucking crying out loud. We have a moron who his dad paid for his college, his dad paid for his grades, his dad paid for everything. And he was bitter with his dad because he didn't give him enough money. Dude, your dad gave you a pathway in which you don't have to do shit. You claim a presidency because you had a lot of money that you could invest in neuroscience that will work in your favor. So if we have Donald Trump in the Oval Office, Cardi B is not a bad choice. The thing is that we cannot let Kanye get into office. Now, moving on. Praise to Cardi B, and thankful for her for everything that she has done throughout this crisis. So, shout out to you, girl. Shout out to you, girl. Thank you. So, moving from those topics, we move back to Puerto Rico, so we give you a complete status of what's going on here. In the case of Puerto Rico, as I was mentioning earlier in this very same podcast, Wanda Vázquez was one of the leaders within the United States that had the first most affirmative step towards the crisis. For a moment there, for people who are not up to date of what is going on in Puerto Rico, last summer we actually fired our governor, because that's how it went down, even if they want to make it look otherwise. The thing is that from the moment she was the one that was, after a whole mess of a process, to choose a successor for the governor of Puerto Rico, she ended up, Wanda Vázquez, the one that ended up in that chair. From the moment that she ended up in that chair, it has been a controversy after a controversy. There has been even storage facilities that have been appearing that the government denied that they did exist, and there were people after the Maria crisis that were having starving issues, that were having famine issues, that were having hunger issues, that they needed those supplies, and most of those supplies. Some of them, they were even expired on storage facilities that were actually abandoned with a lot of stuff that people in that moment, that this was starting this year, 2020, with the earthquakes in the south of the island, they were needing. So it was like a misstep and a misstep and a misstep and a misstep, and then the COVID crisis came. And it's not like she did something out of the extraordinary. It's just that she's there to do a job. And for the first time, she took an affirmative action that I recognize it was a good call. Just that. We can recognize a good call. It's her responsibility to do it, but it was a good call. The thing is that as things start to unravel, we have our curfew in place, everything's still falling, blah. Thing is that now there was an attempt through the Department of Health to buy a bunch of ventilators at overstock market price. Let's take, for example, the cost of a ventilator, a hospital ventilator machine. It is between around 8,000, a really cheap, not so trustworthy one, to around $12,000. These people were trying to buy, they were gonna sell to the government. The company name is Apex. It's run by a guy that is named Aaron Bick. And the thing is that this company was going to sell to the government a piece of equipment that costed around $12,000. He was selling them around $38,000 for a total whopping amount of $38 million. And when a journalist in Puerto Rico started questioning the governor, which is the job journalists do, about if she knew or she did not knew, and how did it went through, which are justifiable questions. These are not questions that are to offend the person or to attack the person. You should be ready. If you're a politician in these times, you have to be ready. There's a lot of politicians, as I was talking earlier on about Andrew Cuomo, that they're betting on the fact that since I'm a politician, I'm sort of this demigod and people have to obey me. And it doesn't work like that anymore. It's like I was telling you, people see politicians as not trustworthy people. And there's a huge lot of people who do not vote. And they're the ones that see politicians, and they're the vast majority of people, and they're the ones who who distrust their politicians more and more. So in the case of one that she got pissed, she never even ended the interview. She just got pissed. And there was the owner of the company, which I was mentioning, Aaron Bick, denying that he had anything to do with it, but his signature is in the documents because the documents leaked too. I don't know, but Puerto Rico's government need to hire a plumber, if you ask me. Then, just fresh, like recently, she decided to extend the hours of the curfew amidst the day that we got our first 100 positive confirmation, 100 positive cases confirmation, and she has decided that we need more commercial activity. And this is the part where everything falls apart for me. This is the part when I get pissed, when I get sad. This is what breaks me inside this whole crisis is the fact that we're having the most dumbest, idiotic conversation about economy that I have ever heard. Sure, having business closed is something that stops the economy, hurts the economy. But as I has been repeating throughout this whole podcast, you cannot have an economy with dead people. Let's go to the fiction. Let's go to the dumb side of things here for a little warning. Have you ever seen in a movie, not a commercial, in a commercial you can see it, but in a movie, and if you see one, have you seen zombies buying shit? No. This is not going to turn people into zombies, I'm sure of that. But I'm giving you a good example. If people is sick, if people is fucked up, and if people is dying, if we have people dying, we don't have an economy. So this is a bump. This is a hit. People want to, I live in an island. I live in Puerto Rico. I experienced firsthand Maria. And what I seen through the United States, and worse, even worse, in Puerto Rico, is a debate in which we need to restart the economy as soon as possible. Forget the chances. People are going to get sick anyway. Let's get outside. Let's do our things like we used to.